Hello, hello, hello. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Bella Luna. I am a spiritual life coach, healer, mystic, transformational facilitator, and radical self-love advocate. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about proaction versus reaction. I'm going to be focusing specifically on proactive versus reactive in the healing areas of life and like health and well-being, but you can also use this same information, knowledge, wisdom approach to any area of your life, really. So let's get on with it. Right, so we live in a very fast-paced modern world, and this world seems to leave us super busy. So busy, in fact, that I see a ridiculous amount of people that just forget to take care of themselves. They just forget, like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to sleep, I forgot to eat, I forgot to do whatever, you know. And it seems to take something really drastic like a health scare or an accident or a burnout before people are actually willing to look after themselves and attend to their own basic needs. I mean, what are we doing, guys? I see too many people who don't eat enough or who don't eat the right things, you know, for their body, for their constitution, or just eating generally healthy. I see multitudes of people that certainly don't sleep or even just rest enough. You know, I have conversations with people and they're like, oh yeah, I had like 4 or 5 hours sleep last night. And I'm like, what are you doing? I sleep for like 8 to 10 hours a night. And like, sometimes that's not even enough. I also see tons of people that don't drink enough, and I don't mean booze. I know a lot of people who drink enough of that. I mean water, liquid life, as I call it. But yeah, so many people that just don't drink enough water because they're too busy drinking coffee or tea or Coca-Cola or fizzy drinks or alcohol, other things like that. And these are really just the bare necessities, right? Food, water, rest, let alone the extras like exercise or self-care or therapy or other supportive practices. So it's no wonder that we aren't that well equipped to deal with challenging situations when they arise in our life. And this leads me on to the main topic of this video, which is proaction versus reaction. So first, let's look at what I actually mean by reaction and proaction. So reaction is about waiting for problems to arise in your life and then acting accordingly to your needs. So you're just chilling around, a problem comes up and you react and give yourself what you need in that moment. But proaction is about taking action towards either preventing problems from ever arising in the first place or creating a set of supportive conditions so that when an inevitable challenge or problem does come up in your life, you are well equipped to face it without it completely flooring you, right? So let's give you some examples to bring some context to this proaction versus reaction theory. So let's take a headache, for example. A reactive approach to a headache would be, oh, I've got a headache. Let's take some painkillers. A proactive approach would be, okay, I know that if I don't drink enough water, I'll get a headache. So let's drink some water. I know that if I stare too long at a screen, I get a headache. I know that actually if I spend too much time with pressure on the back of my head, like lying down watching TV in bed or sitting against like a sofa with a pillow on my head, I have too much pressure on my head for too long, I get a headache. Or the sun often gives me a headache, so I like to wear a hat. So the reactive approach is to take the painkiller when I have a headache. But the proactive approach would be to drink enough water, don't stare too long at a screen, don't have too much pressure on my head physically, and wear a hat or stay in the shade. Those are my proactive approaches to not getting a headache. Sometimes, of course, I'll still get a headache, and then I still might need to take painkillers or give myself a head massage. Another good example is dental hygiene. So the reactive approach would be just to, just sit around, not care too much about your teeth. And if or when you have a problem, then you can just get a filling or a root canal or have a tooth pulled or anything like that. But the proactive approach would be to do the recommended dental hygiene practices, which I believe are to brush your teeth twice a day, to floss once a day, to maybe use mouthwash, to get regular checkups with the dentist. Further examples to proactive approaches are things like using antivirus protection on your computer. Instead of just waiting for a virus to happen and then having to take it to a computer expert, you could put antivirus software on your computer. Having regular checkups on your vehicle, MOTs, checking the oil, the water levels, things like that. Eating healthily and doing regular exercise. Those are all basic proactive approaches to taking care of yourself. Many tools can also be used as both proactive and reactive measures. So, for example, things like energy healing, like Reiki and crystals, or massage, or using nutritionists or therapists, these can all be really great proactive and reactive measures. But most of these tools that can be used as both are actually much more effective as reactive measures if they are already used as proactive measures. So, for example, if breathing techniques are part of your regular toolbox, then you will have fine-tuned the breathing techniques that work for you. You will have confidence in it, you'll be comfortable doing it, and you'll be ready to whip it out any moment that you get stressed or need that tool. You'll know how to use it, you'll be comfortable with it, you'll believe in its efficacy, and that will increase the chances of it supporting you in a crisis moment. So if you try to utilize this tool in a trauma response moment, in a crisis, when you've never used it before, it's much less likely to work because you don't actually really know what you're doing. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm having a panic attack. Let's do a breathing technique. Oh shit, I don't know any breathing techniques. Oh, they probably don't work anyway. Oh, and then you don't have a technique. Whereas if I'm like, oh, okay, I'm having an anxiety attack. I know that breathing really calms me down. I know that if I do 6 deep in breaths and 8 out breaths, then I'm, my brain is calmed down and I'm good to go. Another great example of something that is a great reactive measure, but even more potent when it's used as a proactive measure, is therapy, right? So a lot of people wait to get a therapist until they've experienced a trauma, or they're in crisis, or they just can't cope with life anymore, or they're burnt out or something like that. But you could start seeing a therapist while you're in a good mental space. And that way, if or when you get into a bad mental or emotional space, you have already built a safe container with a therapist, a solid foundation, and you don't have to start from scratch whilst struggling emotionally. I've had too many therapists in my life to count, right? And each time I get a new one, I have to spend a few sessions at least filling them in on my life so far. And as you can imagine, the older you get, the more life you have to fill in. And this takes a while to actually just get to the area in which I need to be in which I need help with. So when I have a therapist over a longer period of time, when something particular challenging comes up, they already know me. They already know my history, the backstory, and all the nuances of my particular circumstances, that I don't have to then start filling them in on everything that's going on and happening. This means that when I'm in a particularly sensitive state, or I'm triggered, or I'm traumatized, or something new and challenging has come up in my life, I don't actually need to waste valuable time and my precious energy on explaining everything that led me to this point in my life and who I am as a person. So, to summarize this general video, being proactive towards your health, healing, and well-being by eating healthily, drinking enough water, resting well, staying fit and active, and having an integrated set of supportive tools and practices in your life, this can be the difference between how big a reaction you need to have if and when something challenging does arise in your life. Proaction really can be the difference between a mild or a severe response to a traumatizing experience. So that's it for this video. As always, if you have any questions or experiences you'd like to share, please just pop them in the comments below, because I love hearing from you. So that's it for now. Much love and infinite blessings from me, and I will see you in the next video.